What's up, guys? Hey, in this video today, I've got an awesome announcement for our OIL family, and then I'm going to go into some other quick stuff I wanted to talk about from a recent conference went to. I didn't meet him, but I got to hear Urban Meyer speak, and I wanted to give some of that back to you guys. So, hey, I'm doing a recording today instead of the live, just based on my timing for my schedule today. But let's just hop into it, okay? Hey, guys, announcement for OIL. This is probably why a lot of you guys are here. Here's what I got for you. Open gym, okay? We put up a couple of posters and we've been talking about it more. Again, this has always been the case here. Since we moved into the new facility, we just maybe it's been less advertised. Totally admit that's true. But 5 a.m. to 1 p.m. open gym. As long as you're not interfering with class, you're not getting in the way of class, you are good to go. You can use the open gym area. You can use machines, rowers, barbells, dumbbells, whatever you need to, as long as that's not needed by class or being used by class. Okay. And then again, same for space. If you need, in terms of what space you're using, as long as it's not being used by class, that's totally cool. Evening, 4 to 7 p.m. We have more going on just at that point. We have kids' classes on Monday, Wednesday, Thursday. There's different things there. But again, as long as you're out of the way of those programs, that is one of the primary reasons we moved into the bigger facility. But here's your real announcement. Open gym, I'm going to be adding a 2-hour time slot to that, and that's going to be on Sundays 12 to 2 p.m. every single Sunday. And the reason we want to do this, the primary purpose is I want to provide a space and an environment for those that are most interested in competing, the competitive athletes. I want to create space and environment for them to get together on a regular basis. And play around a little bit. I know naturally with class, no matter what structure of class, there is always going to be some limitations because it is a group, right? There's, whether it's space or equipment or time, right? To fit a general warm up into an hour class and do a workout, like, you know, sometimes you have to practice longer than that. But anyways, I won't have any official workouts written in Chalk Pro. This isn't like a class run thing. There will be a coach there. The design of the coach being there. I'm telling our coaches you have permission to work out with people. So that coach, I don't even know if they'll be in a coach's shirt if I'm being honest with you. But they're there more just to unlock the facility, so it's available from 12 to 2 on Sundays. They may work out, they may not. If they're not working out, they're available, and I'm telling them that they also are going to be available to help you guys out. Basic tips, pointers. If you're working on bar muscle ups or handstand walks or a lift or something like that, like they're supposed to be there as a resource as well. Okay. So primary purpose, definitely for competitors to have an environment and space to train together. Because again, the limitations of class, sometimes it's the space of like, I don't know, what's it like to handstand walk 20 meters straight, right? Like that's not something we're gonna do in class necessarily. Okay. So couple of fine details that I know we're going to get these questions. So yes, a coach is going to be there. They'll be there to help you with the workouts, but they may also be working out themselves. They have permission to do that. Yes, it does count as a check-in. Okay. So this is probably the one thing I wanted to zero in on and talk a couple of details. Yes, it counts as a check-in. So if you're hustling for the end of the month, that's totally fine with me for you to use that. My rule is you just need to use it. This isn't a come sit on the box and talk to your friends and then check it on the iPad to call it good. This isn't come in, checking on the iPad, bike for 10 minutes and then leave. I'm giving that coach permission to revoke your check-in if they feel like um, you didn't come in and do anything, right? If you were abusing that. Same thing. If you're coming in to stretch, I still want you here. If you wanted to come sit on a box and visit, I still want you here because it's a fun environment. That's part of the doors being open in the community we have here. But in terms of the check-in, no, I just do not abuse it. Don't make us make up rules to actually make this not fun. The design is you're supposed to come in and get better as a person. So you don't have to work out for the whole 2 hours. You don't have to do 7 workouts, but I just want you to come in and do something. So other people that I think this really benefits a ton is, I mean, we're in the middle of November right now. So if you need an extra day to come in, you just want to knock out an hour's worth of rowing, get a huge chunk out of the way. This is the perfect opportunity for that, right? Hustle challenge. We haven't even talked about this, but those that know that we've done it in the past between Thanksgiving and New Year's, it's basically a check-in challenge of getting the most check-ins that you can. We've got different tiers and prizes because we know that's a hard time of year for you guys to, for people to stay engaged with the gym. So this is another way to get that extra check-in, depending on what your um, busyness of your week looks like. Also is good. Those doing trying to learn a new skill. So we do have the Open coming up. It's not that far away in February. We've got November, December, January, and then it's in the middle of February. So 3 months away. If you're trying to get your first toes to bar, or pull up, or muscle up, different movements like that, wall walks, whatever it is, like this is the time to come in and work on it. It's an open gym. It's a playground. It's an opportunity for you to get better at those movements. High Rocks was another thing that came to mind. Obviously we have our High Rocks membership. We have the specific High Rocks classes that, again, it's included in everybody's membership. Maybe you just missed one of those classes in the week and you wanted to get in on Sunday. Maybe you just missed a regular CrossFit class throughout the week and you wanted to make it up because that just looked like a super fun workout. But I mean, specific to the High Rocks example, I mean, that's a race that's typically an hour to an hour and a half, or more, depending on what division you're in. We can't do hour to 15-minute workouts in class. Even on the High Rocks days, we're not doing 75-minute workouts. So if you wanted to, simulate a little bit more of what the full race is like, whether that's a long run or mixing in different things, again, this is an environment. That's why it's 2 hours. It's an environment and space for those trying to compete to be able to do some of these more specific things. Kind of this fringe last 5% of your training that we just, it is limited because it is a group class, regardless of size, space, type of gym, or anything like that. So guys, I'm super excited. I think that was all my. I forgot the most fun part. That was all my notes minus one. Um, 12 to 2 Sundays. I know we'll get asked about this at some point, but drop-ins. Anybody seeing this, or if you have friends you want to invite, I may come up with a drop-in thing eventually. Right now, just to get this launched. By the way, it does start this Sunday, November 9th, 12 to 2. If you have friends that want to come and drop in, I don't have an exact plan for drop-ins right now, but for the month of November, I'm just going to say free drop-in. If you are not a member of OIL, if you want to come in and drop in and use that time slot appropriately, as long as that person signed a waiver, the coach will walk them through that. But as long as that person signed a waiver, they're good to come out. Because again, the point of this is to create an environment and space and a place for competitors to come together and push each other. That iron sharpens iron is our goal here. So I may come up with something eventually in a way to structure it. I may just see how it goes. But for right now, if you got a friend that is currently experienced with CrossFit or High Rocks or something, and they're coming in to do that with you, that's cool. But I want to be very clear, this is not a trial class. This is not invite somebody that's never worked out before, or it's been a long time, or they just wanted to check out the gym. This is not the appropriate avenue for that. The coach will, again, stop that. But if you're partnered up with a friend from another gym for a competition coming up here in a couple of weeks, and you guys need a space to come practice some of the workouts, like that's the point of this, is to get again a space and a place and an environment for competitors to train. Okay. Sweet. If you have any questions, text us, comment, all that type of stuff, the different places that you guys know there. Okay. All right, here's what I want to talk about today. I've been going live every Tuesday on YouTube. Again, today I'm pre-recording it just because of my personal schedule and timing today. But I've been talking every Tuesday, just little bits of mindsets of stuff either I've been learning or I've heard, or just different things that I just have to, I hear it and I have to share it with you guys. I mean, that is my job here, is to give and give and give and give this information away. And so it was about. Yeah, it was a month ago. Yeah, a month ago this week. I went out to Nashville. I went to a conference for this group that I'm in, and one of the keynote speakers, maybe the keynote speaker, I got to hear Urban Meyer speak. For those that don't know him, I'm gonna tell a story about when he was first coach at Bowling Green, his first head coaching job that he told us. After that, he coached for 2 years at University of Utah, took them to the Fiesta Bowl, took them from like a nobody and turned them into something. He gets them to the Fiesta Bowl. That's when he gets the call from University of Florida. I think we all know Tim Tebow in um, his time at Florida, winning a couple of national championships. He goes to Ohio State next. They win the national championship. If you still don't know who he is, this is who Elliott played for when he was in college for the Ohio State Buckeyes. But anyways, Urban Meyer is a coach. I mean, he's got to be at the top of any list of head football coaches, or at the college level specifically. But anyway, so he told this story of when he was first getting started out. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna tell this story, and then I'm gonna relate it to somebody first starting out in their journey, whether it's fitness or health or whatever you want to call it. Now, this isn't just for somebody brand new at the gym. This is just somebody starting a new habit or needing to make a change or whatever it is. And so um, I'm gonna try to regurgitate as much of his story as I can, or I'm gonna do it quickly. He was the one of the coaches at Notre Dame. I believe it was like a wide receiver coach or something like that. Gets the call to go to Bowling Green. He doesn't want it, right? You can imagine being an assistant coach at Notre Dame is probably higher than the head coach at Bowling Green, at least in terms of status. Now you got to get your chance as a head coach and build your resume, which he obviously did, and that worked out well for him. But Bowling Green was 2-9 the year before. He self-described them as the bad news bears. He didn't want the job at all. His Notre Dame coaches around him were like, "Bro, you have to take it if you ever want to make it, make it and be the head coach. You have to start here." And so he gets like forced into it. So he gets there and he sees what he's working with. He gives them a big pump up speech. He enforces academic standards of like the kids actually have to go to class and stuff like that. Kicked off half the team because they didn't do that. But he just comes in, flips over the table, sets some standards, and gets going. But even then, like just because he sets standards doesn't mean all of a sudden it's a great football team. Like there's still talent. You still have to learn. You still have to coach. And so in his first year, the only thing that they practiced over the summer and what he talked about was he had two extremely simple things on offense: get 4 yards every play. That was their only goal. They didn't practice Hail Marys, they didn't practice long passing throws. All they practiced were plays that would get them 4 yards. Those that know football, if you can get 4 yards on first down, 4 yards on second, and 4 yards on third down, you've got a first down and you can keep marching down the field 4 yards at a time. Every single play that they ran and that they practiced during spring ball, summer camp, and then into the season, 4 yards. That was all they practiced. They did not practice big plays. They didn't practice quarterback sneaks for that extra 1 yard if they were close. They practiced 4 yard plays. That's all they did. On defense, kind of a two part, but really the same thing. They practiced keeping the other team in front of them and making a tackle. That's the only thing they practiced. They practiced defenses that would keep the ball or the people, the offense in front of them, and then make the tackle. Okay. So they're not practicing heavy blitzes. They're not doing all these fancy schemes, trick plays, and linebacker shifts. Like they're keep them in front and then make a tackle. That's what they had to do first because that's all they needed. And he goes on to tell the story. I'm not the storyteller that he is, and the way that he told it, with his own emotion. Long story short, their first, they turn the season. He goes from 2-9 one season. They go 8-3 in that first season. Again, it's Bowling Green. I mean, most of us are roll our eyes if your favorite college team ever played them. That's usually the easy win. In that first game, they actually played Missouri, and that was oh man, I'm gonna mess up the years. I don't want to say it out loud. I'm gonna mess up the years, but some right around 2000, somewhere in that range. But Missouri Tigers. They were a very good team back then. Huge upset, ranked at the time. But their first game was against Missouri, and so they weren't allowed at practice to talk about beating Missouri or anything Missouri. They only were allowed to talk about how to get 4 yards on offense and how to keep somebody in front in order to make a tackle on defense. And so he gets through it. They look up at the scoreboard in the beginning of the fourth quarter. Somehow it's like tied or really, really close. And he pulls the team together. He said, "Guys, we're sticking to the strategy, 4 yards at a time, and then make a tackle." He says, "But I need one thing. I need one person to make a big play. We need to get lucky and make a big play." I don't remember if it was an interception or a fumble, but it was something like defender, just made interception, returned it, touchdown, and that was basically the equivalent of what they needed to win the game. And so that's the story, and here's how I want you to apply it. So when I heard him talk about that, I thought it was, I mean, wonderful. It was a great story time. I like football, so it's fun to hear, and everybody kind of cheers for the underdog, and it's cool to hear some. He got to tell a bunch of stories from the back of his times, coming up in the system and being the head coach and becoming what he is now. But the immediate thing that went off in my head was how can we break it down into the simplest task? Whether this is our health and our fitness, whether this is your job, whether this is your family, whether this is a financial goal, like whatever your goal is that you're working towards. And for them, it was win a football game. Whatever our real goal is, how can we break it down into the simplest task? Move the ball forward 4 yards, keep them in front, and make a tackle. Okay. And so obviously I'm gonna bias this towards health and fitness and somebody kind of just starting the gym or really trying to make a step in their journey, whether that's lose 20 pounds, maybe you've lost some weight, but like you want to lose the next 20 pounds. Maybe that's going to be building some muscle. You've lost weight, but now you're building muscle, whether that's headed into the new year, or you have a change in your personal life, like whatever it is. But like that's what I want to help you with. So I got a couple of basics. I talked to somebody about this yesterday, somebody about this last week, and then Christine and I, we talk about everything, but we were talking about it over the weekend, and I thought this was a really good concept. But I was talking about like the different levels that we have here at OIL. Like when you first start, brand new beginner. Um, I really need like three main things from you. And if I sit down with you or Robbie sits down with you and we do your initial body scan when you first join the gym, we circle a couple of things on the in-body sheet. There's three things I need you to do. I need you to eat enough protein to support your working out. I'm not saying you have to only eat protein all day long. That's the only thing you eat and turn into this muscle person. If you want to, cool, we can have that conversation separately. But our goal isn't to eat only protein and overeat it, but you got to eat enough to at least support what you're doing now. And if you're not working out and you join here at OIL and you start working out 4 to 5 times a week, we're doing strength training multiple days per week, not to mention just basic muscle breakdown and just general aging. Okay. Like there's a certain amount of protein we have to eat. The second thing I have everybody do, and really kind of lump this all into the same thing. The other thing I'll circle your total body weight. I'll divide that number in half. And that's a decent number of ounces of water to drink. So if somebody weighs 200 pounds, 100 ounces a day is a good place to aim for. Most people, I'd say 80 to 120, up to 140 ounces is a great place to aim for, just kind of depending on your size. But protein, please eat enough. Water, please drink enough. And then working out, like that's the whole point of you guys are here. That's literally why you pay a membership is to work out. So you got to be here 4 more times a week. If you only eat half your protein, you only drink half your water, and you only work out 2 days a week, when we do your body scan in 3 to 4 months, it's not going to look good. That's how it is. But that is the simplest way I can break it down. Okay. Well, I've got simpler. That's my catch at the end of this. But that's step number one. That's what I talked to everybody about at the beginning. Step number two, and this was, I talked to somebody about this yesterday, and what's like the next step from that? Because some people are like, how many calories do I eat? Or how do I do my macros, or what supplements should I be taking, what meal timing, there's different things there, but just a really basic step number two. If I'm already hitting my protein every single day, I'm hitting my water every single day, and I'm working out 4 to 5 times a week, then we can add another layer. But until we master level one, we can't go to level two. So level two, there's different steps from here. Currently, what I would recommend is this is when we can start looking at something like calories and maybe even your steps. Okay. So calories, now that we're eating enough protein, I want to make sure we're eating enough protein, but we're not also not overeating all the other stuff. Okay. So, especially if somebody's looking for fat loss specifically. Um, and then vice versa, someone's looking for muscle gain. If we're eating enough protein, but we're not eating enough of the other stuff to support us, we're not going to gain the muscle we're looking for. And then again, back to weight loss. If we're eating enough protein, but we're overeating, but it's a tub of cookie dough ice cream at night, every night, we're not going to get there. Okay. So I use the protein as a floor. Like you got to get at least above the floor of amount of protein. And then we'll have either a calorie number, or maybe there's another way to count it with meals or something like that, of like I don't want to overeat as well. So we want to stay in this range of I'm eating enough protein, but I'm not eating too many calories. Okay. So now we're starting to quantify and we're calculating, and maybe we're even weighing our food. But again, there's this next step. The other side of that, that's kind of my energy coming in, but energy coming out. So yeah, you're here 4 to 5 times a week doing your workouts, but what does the rest of your life look like outside of the gym? If you're just here Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday for an hour, awesome. I love it. I'm super happy. That's a great step. That's a huge start for so many people. That would make America so healthy. But if you only sit at a desk the entire other time, and on the weekend you only sit on the couch and watch TV, we probably still need to do a little bit more activity. And so this can come in many different forms. It doesn't have to be a workout. It could be as much as a run. It could be a slow run. But for most people, it's probably just doing a walk anywhere from 1, 2, 3, or even 4 times a week. Or maybe you're just doing a 30-minute walk every day after dinner, but something like that, just to make sure we're still moving our body throughout the day, that the only activity we are doing is not only that 1 hour. So again, I call it calories and steps, but it's really just making sure we're not overeating after we've gotten our protein, and making sure we're still doing enough on our time outside of the gym. Okay. Step number three, or level number three, and it is probably looking through your macros, actually tracking your protein, your carbs, and fat. Now, I'm not going to give advice on this one because everybody's totally different based on your goals, but we can't jump straight to macros if we can't even figure out how to eat enough protein first or drink enough water. Okay. Like this isn't a conversation worth having until we've mastered level one and then mastered level two. At level three, usually we have a specific goal in mind. And so, based on someone's goals, is how we can kind of play with those different levers of how much of each food am I eating. But again, none of that matters until you master level one, master level two, and then we can even talk about level three. I put down level number four. Um, I just kind of wrote a myriad of items like sleep, supplements, meal timing, specific workouts. I'm not saying sleep is the fourth most important thing. You should probably be doing that sooner. But when you're getting to this point, we're probably needing to optimize our sleep more than just, hey, be in bed for 7 hours. We're probably looking at more like 8 hours, or we're looking at specific bedtime routines and wake up routines and making sure it's consistent on your time, bedtime and wake times, supplements. Like I do think there's some basics like a protein shake or a multivitamin or something like that that we should probably be taking at some of these lower levels. But really deep diving into vitamins and blood work and stuff, I don't feel like that matters yet. Man, okay, here's your rant, and I'll keep it short. For me, absolutely drives me insane is when people buy a supplement or they say they're deficient in this, or they kind of get off on a tangent of a diet or whatever, and they literally can't even drink enough water and their protein first. Like literally just do those two things first, paired with working out, and then let's have the conversation. It drives me insane when somebody gets mad about their blood work and they're here once a week. It's like your doctor's going to tell you medicines or these other things, but like those are fixes when the real fix is in front of you. No, I'll end it there. Meal timing, what time of day do you eat your meals? What time of day do you eat your carbs versus your protein? Specific workouts. Do I need to be doing extra workouts again? None of this is really necessary until we're up past levels one, two, three, and we're into four. Okay. Now, levels one, two, three, four. I'm gonna bring this home for you guys. Give me 5 more minutes. I want you to upgrade per level every, I'm gonna say 3 to 9 months. Everybody's in a different journey, but every 3 to 9 months. We have the progress sessions set up here where you should get a text every 3 months that says, hey, let's do an in-body scan and let's sit down and talk. If you're not making progress and you're not clicking on that link to book the session, I don't know what else I can do for you. We're giving you our time, our schedule, our calendar availability for us to sit down with you and to talk about these things and to help hold you accountable to them. Just like we promised when you and I first sat down and we all got signed up for the gym. Every 3 months, what we're going to do is we can see that scan and be like, okay, did you eat your protein, water, and did you work out 4 to 5 times a week? Yes, I did. Okay, awesome. Let's look at the scan. Oh, wow, we made a bunch of progress. Cool. Do you want to make the same progress over the next 3 months? Or are we kind of starting to plateau or level out? And so we need to try level two, right? And it's that simple. And that's how our coaches take care of those progress sessions. Okay. But you should not have the same progress session every 3 months for 2 years. We should not be in the same place a year from now that we are right now. Okay. So that's the point of the progress session is to measure our progress. And so we actually make changes that move us forward. All right. Then again, within a year, though, we should all be looking at least graduating kind of level two or so of the program and looking at level three, depending, again, depends on your goals and interests and stuff like that. But if we're a whole year into this working out CrossFit OYL thing, and we still can't master coming 4 times a week to make committed club, we still can't master drinking water 6 out of the 7 days a week, we still can't master hitting our protein 6 out of 7 days of the week, like that's the basics. And I'm just going to keep telling you to do the same thing over and over and over again. I can help you with strategies of how to get more protein, but we're just going to keep talking about the same thing over and over and over again. Okay. And let me tie this all the way back to Urban Meyer, something that he said. He obviously didn't use that strategy of only 4 yard plays when he was coaching Ezekiel Elliott on the Ohio State Buckeyes and they're winning a national championship and upsetting, I forget who they played that year. I think it was Alabama that upset. But they obviously didn't use that strategy then, because he had built, let me see his words, he had built the belief, the proof, and the trust for him to then go to bigger goals. Okay. But until you built the belief in yourself to then tackle the next level, until you provide the proof to yourself that you can actually stick to a habit, and until you provide the trust in yourself or the trust in your teammates in that example, to master level one, level two doesn't matter. And so if Bowling Green, that was again 2-9 last year, is trying to practice these big trick plays and all this type of stuff, that would help them win the national championship, that's just too big of a step forward, and they're going to completely miss it. They need to practice 4 yards at a time, keep the person in front of you, and tackle them. And so for you guys struggling to make a change or get started or continue to make the change or the consistency with it, that's what I want to challenge you with. What's the simplest task that you can break it down to this new habit? Okay. Final thing, I had a conversation with Christine this weekend. We were in talking about her, eating enough protein in her foods and stuff like that. The days that she eats lunch, great on protein. She eats plenty, maybe even way more than is probably necessary. On the day she doesn't eat lunch, completely undereats, throws the whole day off. And it's black and white as that. We talk about, she and I, we talk about water and workouts and like, okay, I'll pick the kids up from school this, today so you can get your fourth workout in. Like even that doesn't matter as much as like completely missing lunch. And so what we were talking about was like that's like so for her, the only thing like to break down all this stuff I just talked for the last what are we at 30 minutes now, 25 minutes worth of talking to break all of that down, you just needs to eat lunch. And so now we can come up with a strategy. Like now we know like that's her 4 yards is just to eat lunch. We meal prep it. We've got the containers in the fridge. I've got a bonus. Sorry, my fridge in my office is right here. Like I've got a bonus meal. Like I have backup snacks that are protein packed. We got them in the coach's office, which is behind me. Like we have all this stuff, but like if we just forget to do that, that's just the biggest. Sorry, that's the last line, but that's all she needs to do, just lunch, and she's good to go. Okay. Um, for some people, that's going to be just tracking your food, just having a notes app on your phone of like, okay, yes, I had protein for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and it was about 40 grams each. That got me to 120. Added my protein shake after I worked out. Now I'm at 150. Okay, like that's a great place to be. Others, it's just getting here that fourth time per week, tracking your workouts. That's on Sundays, looking at your schedule and saying, wow, I have a lot going on Thursday, Friday. That's probably going to throw me off for the week. I guess that means I'm choosing Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Saturday. I need to make sure that's arranged. I need to let my family know now that I'm going to Saturday workout at 8 a.m. And then I'm coming home, and then we'll all go to my son or daughter's soccer game, right? Like some of us need to plan that on Sunday and plan it out. And so for us, it's 4 times a week. And the simplest task is just pre-plan those 4 times a week and at what times. I talked to somebody else probably about 2 weeks ago, a week ago. They, sometimes they work from home, sometimes they go in the office, and I'm pointing directions, but they live that way and the office is that way. Well, sometimes they said, if they work from home, they're like, man, I crave human interaction, super easy and motivating for me to want to come to the gym in the evening. Easy. They're like, when I go to work, I'm kind of peopled out. And so I want to go home first and then come back in an hour to come to the 6 p.m. class. I don't think that's the end of the world, but they've noticed those are the easy days to skip where they're lost the motivation. They get home, they change, they shower, kind of start eating, and it's kind of done for them. So we just talked about like, hey, I know it feels peopled out, it feels a little extra, but just on your way home, bring your clothes, stop here, work out at 5, and then you can make it home, and then you can unpeople when you get home, right? And so for that person, it was literally just the change of like, hey, days in the office, you just go to 5 p.m. instead of going to 6 p.m. on the days that you're at home. And they're like, yeah, some people just kind of forget that they can do that. And it's not that you forget, we just don't realize we're so in this routine of like, hey, I'm at 6 p.m. That's where my friends go, or I'm committed, like hammered meat, same time every single day, but we do have these changes in life that we need. So for that person, it was bring your workout clothes to work and work out on the way home. Boom, that person nailed 4 or 5 times every single week since we've talked about that. Actually, they've been nailing 6 times since we talked about that. Maybe it's setting your clothes out the night before, in the bathroom so you can make it to 5 a.m. You wake up, we're getting into those colder months, you're like, oh, I just want to stay in bed, the bed's nice and cozy. Like you set your stuff out, you set your shoes out, like it's ready to go. So you roll out of bed, you grab them, and you make it to that 5 or 6 a.m. class. So again, tons of options. If you need more ideas, let me know. I'm gonna wrap it up there today, guys. Thanks for listening. Reminder, open gym Sundays 12 to 2. That starts this Sunday. Yes, a check-in. Yes, a coach is going to be there. Free drop-ins for friends included in all the memberships that we have here. Love to see you guys there to work on you getting better. And then if you want to talk more about some of these levels and how to level up, schedule that progress session whenever you get the text. All right. Have a good one, guys. See you later.